Alright, as we get set up here, hopefully the comments will come on. Alright. Alright, welcome everybody. Today is, keep forgetting, Wednesday, September 29th, and we're here with our weekly update for North Tonawanda City Schools. I'm Greg Wojtyla, the superintendent, and we are here to discuss all things North Tonawanda. So we have a number of things going on, and we've had some excitement this week with our TNT week, but I think everything's coming together there, so I'll be happy to answer questions about that. Some open house stuff coming up. We have Spruce's open house this evening and Drake's open house tomorrow. And then coming up, there'll be some information coming out on Schoology for the middle school, so parents know how they can get theirs and keep kind of the limits low. We're going to split it by the alphabet so that the building isn't overcrowded. And I want to remind everyone that middle school morning drop-off for the cars. You can use the light closest to Ted's and Eckerd's there to go into the high school, go past the library in front of the high school and the Alumni Center, and there is another drop-off point there for middle school students. And the distance from there in the building is just about center, so if they're going to the cafeteria for breakfast, or if they're 7th or 8th grade wings, they're right in the middle. So that's a good alternative if there's some congestion using the public library side for drop-off at the middle school. And we want to remind everybody going forward that we do send the robocalls to try and make calls faster in the morning when someone's absent or sick and not coming to school, but we do appreciate parents taking a moment to call back and at least leave a message to let us know that your child is out sick that day and they're not truant, so we're not worried about them roaming the streets. So we have a couple of things coming up here in October. So the first one is the Wall of Fame project is hosting a little get-together for the community at the Third Ward Club. If you're interested in that, you can go to the Wall of Fame Facebook page. It's NTHS Wall of Fame. And that's completely separate and nothing to do with the school, but they are going to come to a football game that evening on October 15th. And they have some fun things planned where alumni will play with the pep band and things like that. So we hope to see a lot of people on October 15th. The TNT game actually is October 22nd, and as is tradition, that goes back and forth between Tonawanda and North Tonawanda hosting it. So this year it's in Tonawanda. So our sort of celebrations for Spirit Week will continue that week with a car parade and Lumberfest. We are up against the weather in October, but that's when those games are always scheduled. So 2 years ago, before COVID, we moved to the Lumberfest with food trucks and a lot of activities, and it was a good time had by the whole community. So mid-October will be busy. And as we move into October, our total rate of COVID positivity has been low, which we're thankful for. There's no more than a handful a week that we've been reporting. That does not mean that only a handful of students are out of school, though, because if your son or daughter is deemed in close contact, they may be put on quarantine for that period too. But so far moving forward, all that has been taking place. We work closely with the Department of Health every week, and we're happy to continue that partnership with them to make sure everyone stays safe. I'm not seeing any comments. I'm going to click a couple buttons because I thought for sure we'd have some. And I don't know why that would be. All viewers can participate in chat is what's checked. So if someone is watching, and even if they don't have a question, if they could just say hi, we'll give that a check, because I thought for sure we'd have a lot. I got one comment here. Let's see. Oh, can you see this? Okay, so Tracy, one of our Cracker Jack um, registration people downstairs is writing. So here we go. All right, now they're coming in. Thank you for that. Okay, here they go. All right, I came late. What's the status on homecoming and pep rally? Hi. If your child is absent, under what circumstances is a COVID test required for them to return to school? The nurse will let you know that. There's a flow chart on the um, district webpage. So depending on if they've had COVID recently or what the symptom is, there are test requirements to come back to test out of it. But if you've been deemed in close contact, you may not be able to. So best bet is to check the web page. If you have a question, then the school nurse can help you. Um, so what interesting, this one says status on homecoming and pep rally. Um, I've been in North Tonawanda a long time, and there's never really been a traditional homecoming. It's always been T&T week. We have tried some different things as far as a formal winter dance. We've tried things as a T&T dance, and then sometimes it's called the homecoming dance because it's around that week. So right now we're planning all the regular T&T activities that we can safely. The pep rally looks like it'll have to be outside, so weather dependent. I know this morning it was 47 degrees, so I'm not so sure what we'll get on October on the 22nd, but we'll try and do that way. Both gyms are big, but neither one would allow for 3 feet of distancing of students um, and have the whole school in there, which is close to 1,000 students. Um, let's see, what else do we have? So yeah, they've made some adjustments over the last few years with, let me just see if I can do this. Okay, 'cause I like to see, okay. They made some adjustments over the last few years where, given COVID, there are some less restrictions were applied by the board. So for people graduating, we said, well, obviously they couldn't do them, so they needed to do 7 a year, so they needed 714 or 21. So I'm assuming he's correct. You can always double check with the guidance counselor, but depending what year you're starting, so this year we're sort of back to normal, so I would assume it'll go back to the normal this year. But if you're a 10th, 11th, or 12th grader, it's probably a little less than what was previously required because you just couldn't get out and volunteer. There wasn't the TNT game at Tonawanda last year. Well, there were no football games last year. Then they did a kind of like a spring season. So back on track to what's normal. It'll be here next year. Low rates, kids deserve a homecoming dance. Attempt like other schools are doing would be great. So they're looking at that. There's a meeting this afternoon. Um, the issue is with the other schools who've had the larger schools who did the homecoming under the tent, even with the heaters. It was in September. Ours is late October, and I don't know if there even be enough heaters for people to do that. Maybe we could have an Eskimo themed dance. Come in your warmest winter gear and see what is happening in October. But I think they are looking to plan something along those lines. There will be a DJ and a dance at the Lumberfest, which is November 21st, for outdoor music. And then going forward, any school dances or that will be difficult just because of the restrictions. But hopefully we get through the winter, which is the worst part of the COVID. No more variants come, and we can kind of get back to normal so that we don't have to worry about tents and heaters and weather and rain and snow and all that stuff. We can just go back to what we used to do. So that's what we're hoping for in the spring. But right now we've got some restrictions to follow from the state, and so and then we're up against the weather. So we'll try to do our best to make sure it's for everyone, gets out and has fun. But there's a lot of events planned, indoor and outdoor, over the month of October that you can kind of come in for open house and do some different things. So will that be? So I haven't. Lori O'Rourke's asking about aren't taking volunteers. So your best bet is to voice that concern. There is a teacher advisor on that, and then Mr. Fisher will usually send something over to the board if they want to make adjustments on that. But I know that the hours are lessening, at least as far as what was required if you're a senior this year. So check with the guidance counselor. They have a list of places who are accepting volunteers. So if you haven't gotten that list or your student hadn't asked for that list yet, then I'd start there, and then you'll know what needs to be done for graduation this year. All right, did I miss any? Okay, comments came in. So we're excited to get in, finish the first month of school. We've been back. Things seem to be working itself out. There are glitches along the way, as with anything, but we think we get ourselves back to normal as soon as possible. We know we have a lot of events that we typically had that we may not be able to. I know I was planning with Mrs. Lynch to do the tree lighting and the tree auction, but with current restrictions, I'm not sure we can have people in that close of quarters at the high school doing that again. So that may be put on hold for an indoor event, and we can do something outdoor. So things change daily, and as they do, we'll update you and see what we can get in. Lots of thinking outside the box for how we might be able to continue some of these traditions that we're used to, but keeping it safe. Um, Someone is saying for the service learning hours to contact Mr. Capilupo. He can give you what's up and where they are. My daughter is in UPK and was sent home Monday with a slight stuffy nose, no fever, and she can't go back to school without a negative COVID test. That sounds about right. Yes, Mrs. Golab, I heard about the morning meeting this morning at the high school, so I'm sure we'll be following up again with you. I'm sad that this happens every year to your family, but we will work on our best to try and get that fixed. Um, no one should be bullied, and no one should be called bullying for defending themselves. So we'll work on that and see what we can find out, because I know it involved an incident in the bathroom. So we will take care of that for you, hopefully, and get back to you. So as we move off onto bigger and better things this year, we want to remind everyone to stay safe, mask up when you can, and please continue to put your comments if you watch this later, and stay tuned in Schoology for more updates on October events that may be planned in the coming week. So thank you, everybody. Stay safe and stay Lumberjack strong. We will be back next week, which is going to be October 6th. All right. Take care, everybody.